if it's not, we can't function.
I'll be your chaos coordinator.
Yeah, like if my chaos is not organized, I can't function, Jacqui.
Yes.
Like I cannot, like if there's a pile of dishes in the sink, I cannot focus on what I need to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about what the next time I walk into the kitchen, I'm going to see all the dishes.
See, I feel like I'm the opposite. Like,
oh, interesting.
Like I will leave a pile. I am notorious. A pile of clean clothes on my floor for 3 weeks because, like, I feel like it's this. I don't know if juxtaposition is the right word, but like I hate the clutter because it clutters up my head, and I want it clean. I want it. I love when everything is neat and tidy, but at the same time, I feel like I just get this overwhelming feeling of I have this dread of folding laundry. I have this, and and it's all exaggerated in my head, and it's not rational, but I have this dread of folding laundry. I have this dread of doing dishes because there's something else I'd rather be doing.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm your host, Jessica Carice, and this space is a place where we talk about seemingly random topics, but in all actuality, they're connected together. And today we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Jacqui Myslinski.
Hello.
Used to be Jackie Town.
Much easier.
Jacqui is a productivity nerd, a process junkie, a problem solver, outdoor adventurer, a baker, maker, and entrepreneur. She's the CEO of Productivity Nerd, which is a consulting firm to help you with anything and everything to get organized. She is also a lifelong resident of the Jersey Shore, alum of the College of New Jersey, mama, and a wife. She's also a lover of dogs, music, sports, tacos, and bourbon barrel aged stout. She obsesses over details, speaks fluent sarcasms, loves what she does, and has fun doing it. Jacqui, welcome.
Hey, Jessica, thank you.
So I know that we met through Tuck Consulting Group. We're both partner independent consultants with Alex Tuck, who is also a guest on my podcast, you know. So I just love everything that Alice is doing, and I'm so excited and happy that I got to meet you.
Yes. He just seems like that kind of person who brings people together and is kind of like the mayor of, the neighborhood. Like, let me introduce you to this person. You're going to love this person and go hang out with her. And it's a great, I know he used the word community, but it really is a great group that he brings together.
It really is. And so I know like we're on different engagements. So it's not like we interact like all the time. So Jacqui, tell me about your day-to-day.
My day-to-day it's crazy. It's crazy. My one kid, wakes up at the ass crack of dawn and sticks his face right next to the bed and goes, "Mommy, wake up." Super. This is how we're going to start the day. So we get the 5 and 6-year-old ready for kindergarten and first grade, get them on the bus. And then I go to work by myself. And that's another reason why I love working with Tuck and you, is that we can kind of do our own thing, since we all kind of have our own flavor and secret sauce and thing that we love. But then we can have that collaborative group and work on projects together. So, I mean, in my day-to-day, working with clients on my own to help them to standardize their business processes, streamline their project management. I like to say that I Marie Kondo your business operations. That tidying book. I don't know if you've read that.
I haven't read it, but I heard of Marie Kondo. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The concept of that is you declutter your physical space and it will declutter your mind. So I love it. And I try to translate that into business. So I'll work on my business, work with clients. And I just love making and creating things, kind of like you said. And so we'll go through the day. Some days I'll take the dog to the dog park in the middle of the day, or try to go for a bike ride with the kids, take them to activities, spend time with the hubby, and get to spend time with great people like you as well.
That sounds like a wonderful life, Jacqui. Sounds like a wonderful life.
It's some days are insane, some days are a little bit more relaxing, but I feel like it'd be boring if it was any other way.
That is true. That is true. So were you like always in this space? Was this always your career?
Yeah, my career has been all over the place. When I went to college, I thought I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Oh,
So
interesting.
so I went to school as a chemistry major.
Hmm.
And yeah, after I was like high on a roll in high school, like thought I was, hot shit and all of that. And I get to college and I get to college chemistry. I'm like, I got the first D of my life in theoretical, like some, I don't know, theoretical chemistry that doesn't even make sense in real life. And it's
Theoretical
like,
chemistry.
yeah,
What is
literally,
theoretical?
an, uh, it's like an electron could be here, but could be here, but it could be nowhere and figure it out. I'm like, no, it's not for me. So I was also playing lacrosse, and one of my friends said, "Come over to business. Like you won't be studying all the time. Like you can actually have a life."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I switched to business, marketing and sales. My
Hmm.
first job out of school, I was selling research scientific lab equipment.
Okay.
So I traveled the country at 22, 23, selling lab equipment to the FDA and like JPL, like Jet Propulsion Laboratories, part of NASA, and University of Maryland, and like all these big clients. And I got to speak in front of the FDA when I was like 24, which was super cool.
Oh, cool.
So that's really where I got started and had a lot of sales jobs. And then I kind of became an accidental entrepreneur. Um, I got laid off from a job, and I think we're going to segue into this later, but I ended up finding out accidentally that I had a sleep disorder and
Hmm.
got laid off from a job because I was coming in late all the time. And yeah, I just thought I was tired all the time. And they said, literally, this job said, if you're late one more time, like, I'm sorry, there's nothing, we're going to have to let you go. And of course, I was late again and I got laid off. And this was in 2011.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was kind of when like the market had tanked and I had to go on short-term disability because when I got laid off, I was like, maybe I need to go see a doctor. Yeah, we can get into that in another story, but ended up having to take short-term disability. My dad at the time was a mortgage loan officer, and that was when the housing market crashed. He lost his job too. So we were both unemployed. And my dad had been homebrewing for, probably 10, 15 years at that point. He had this nice setup. He would brew on the deck. It was so much fun I say a kid in my 20s, I'd come home from college and I'd make beer with my dad on the deck. And we always said, if we get an opportunity, it would be so cool to have a brewery. So we
Hmm.
both found ourselves unemployed. And we put together a business plan. And we always joke around that we were amazed that the SBA gave a substantial loan to two unemployed people. Um, so that was kind of my stumbling into entrepreneurship. So we started a business from literally nothing, making beer on our deck. We secured the location, uh, ordered the equipment, did the whole build out, and we started a local brewery, and we ran that for about 6 years. And
Wow.
I did not realize how hard family businesses would be.
I can see how it can be.
it it was challenging, and my mom always says that my dad and I are the same person, and that we would just do this all the time. And it was incredible. I would not have traded it for the world, because that was also how I fell into project management, running the
Oh,
day-to-day operations. My dad and I divided and conquered. He was more the numbers and finance kind of guy. I was sales. He was sales too, but sales and marketing. And I ran the tap room and event planning and helping create the
oh,
brewing production schedule. So that's
oh,
really
wow.
where I found my calling in processes. And
Wow.
I feel this is where I really feel like a nerd, because I would be like, okay, well, so and so's out for the week, but his job still got to get done because we're a really small operation. So I need to write down the steps, and I would follow these people around the brewery and write down step by step how to fill a keg, how to take, if we had like a half barrel, one of those giant kegs. There were times where a bar would order sixtels, which were the little skinny kegs, and we would literally have to transfer beer from keg to keg, bending on the order. So I'm like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm a business owner. I wear 7,000 hats, and somebody's got to know how to do this if they're out. So that's how I stumbled into, SOPs and process, and we've got to have a standard way to do things.
Wow.
And I feel like not nobody, there's a very small group of us that get excited about those sort of things. But yeah, but those people are my people and I love them.
It's so funny. Like for me, I'm the type of person where I will map everything out, like process flow chart. I'll give you the most detailed process flow chart that you can have. As far as writing step by step by step by step by step, that is not my strength. I will do it.
Oh,
if I
okay.
have to,
Yep.
but I don't like to. I'll do it. I can do it.
Yep.
I can do it. I can write the details, but I don't want to. But I can do it.
Oh, see, that's why we work together so well.
Yeah.
Because I love the details. You be more big picture. You hand that off. I get into the details. And the way I always like to describe it, if somebody goes on vacation to Bermuda, they get stuck in the triangle and never come back. Somebody's got to be able to step in. Somebody's got to know what they've been doing and really just hit the ground running where that person left off, and they're on a permanent vacation now.
Yeah.
So the details matter. And I love just diving in, whether it's crafting. I know we've talked about crafting, or, spackling. Oh my goodness. And projects around the house. Like my husband will be like, the spackle's smooth enough, Jacqui, like back off and just paint. So yeah, I'll get like a microscope with the details and just have a blast.
It's so funny because I always like to say how we're so similar, but it's like I love learning about how people who really love the little details, like the stuff that they pay attention to, because like I'm not naturally that person, but from like observing people that are the little details, I'm like, okay, I'm making notes on how to be a little detailed person. So I developed the skill over the year, but like my head's always like, I love clouds, they're so big.
Yes.
I'm a big picture. I am a big picture type of person. Yeah.
And that's why I've been calling myself a recovering perfectionist, because I get so like horse blinders on everything's got to be like every I dotted, every T, and everything's got to be perfect. And I'm like, it's paralyzing at times.
Yeah.
It's like, and then on interviews, what's your greatest strength? Oh, my strength is my weakness because I'm perfect, but it paralyzes me. That kind of thing. Like, you'll get the most beautiful, perfect, detailed thing, but it's going to take me 7 weeks because, I get buried in the details. So I'm really trying to be conscious. And I know you talk about mindfulness a lot, like trying to catch myself in like, okay, you're going too far down the rabbit hole. Let's pull out, and it's okay to just be okay sometimes. So that's something I'm really trying to be present on. And
I'm a
really
recovering perfectionist too.
But
it's
I feel like there's a lot of us.
Like I won't get down like a rabbit hole, but it's like if I like, for example, like my skirt that I want to make, right?
Ooh, tell me about it.
Right. So this is where I get stuck, because I'm like, I know that there's a lot of little details that I need to learn how to do before I start working on my skirt. And when I make my skirt, I want it to be immaculate. And then I have this thing in my head that if I start looking into the little details, I don't have time to look into the little details. So then I get stuck not even starting because the little details are overwhelming me. But then when I finally, take a step back, I'm like, okay, just focus on this one piece. I'm like, okay, this wasn't that bad. Okay. But it's like, I literally have to talk myself into like, Jess, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect on your first try, like.
Oh, and especially if you're making clothes for yourself, like you say, I'm making this for me. It's got to be perfect, because you buy stuff off the rack that's not perfect and you expect that, but I'm making this, so it's got to be. So, I totally get that. We should do a side podcast on crafting.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I haven't really shared it like on my podcast yet, that I'm like preparing to sew my clothes. Yeah.
I had an idea. I was listening to another podcast talking about like getting groups of people together, like in little clubs. And I thought, like, so many project managers that I talk to are makers, whether
Really?
they are like carpenters or sewers or crochet or bakers. Like, I find so many project managers love to create physical things as
Yeah.
hobbies. And I was like, there has got to be more of us out there, because whenever we have informal chit chats with the tuck crew, like, we end up talking about crafting, or somebody's a mechanic, or I'm finding more and more project managers are just very skilled in making stuff too. And I feel like that would be fun
Cool.
topics to talk about.
Yeah, like my stuff, like I do painting here and there when I have
Ooh,
time. Yeah, I love
yeah.
painting. I really love painting.
Oh, see, I suck at that. My
I'm not saying I'm the
my
best,
stuff.
but I love it.
Sorry. I try to draw with my kids and I look like the kindergartner along with them. Like, yeah, this is awesome. Like,
We like the
I,
turkey head. You do that?
oh my
Like,
God. I still have, I mean, my mom saved like every craft project I made in school. I still
really?
have these like pine cone turkeys. Did you ever make those in school?
Yeah, but my mom ain't
With
keep
the
nothing.
Oh, my parents moved out of our childhood house, or my childhood house, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And she just had this box of stuff. And she's like, here, I've saved this. Now it's yours. I'm like,
Wow.
I, so I've got, I mean, the construction paper's all bent and faded, but
Yeah.
every Thanksgiving I put out these damn turkeys because
Wow.
they're 35 years old and
That's so
mama kept them. Oh my
wow.
God. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and craft supplies like that she bought me, that like and my mom's like a coupon extraordinaire. She found, I don't even remember how old I was, this craft foam, like these like 9 by 12 inch sheets, like this thick, of every color under the rainbow, that she got, I don't know, for probably a dime when I was 10. And we had so much of it, we never used all of it. So when I had kids, she goes, here's your box of craft foam. It's like, what? You still have that?
So cute. Oh my
So I
gosh.
know. So the boys, and I've got, do you have a Cricut? Or like one of those machines?
No. What's the
No?
cricket?
You, what? Oh, we need to hang out. It's a machine that's got a blade, and it can cut out like decals for water bottles, or like decals for t-shirts for iron-ons, or I use it to cut out craft foam for the boys. Like, so I'll cut out, I don't know, white and red for a Santa, and then we'll glue it together and make stuff. So you get files
Oh.
on the computer, and then it's got a blade and it cuts out. You get stickers, decals, like a lot of like custom water bottles that you'll see on Etsy with people's names. Like, I do that for the kids.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
That's cool. That's really
It's real.
cool.
It is very deep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about going down a rabbit hole of craft
Mm-hmm.
obsessions. Because then you're like, I need this accessory, but now I need that accessory, and I need that
Yeah.
extra blade, and I need that specialty tool. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Oh. So Jacqui, how do you find time for all this?
Oh my goodness. To be honest, my I don't know, body schedule is so screwy. Um,
Okay.
like we touched on the sleep issue. So I have narcolepsy, and I know a lot of people, when they hear that, they would think like, talking to you, I'm just gonna like bonk, like fall asleep. Um,
I'm waiting for you to fall asleep
but
right now.
I, I know, what was that movie, like Big Lebowski, where she just falls asleep?
Yeah,
So
something like
people are like,
that.
oh, you just fall asleep talking? I'm like, not really. But to not get too geeky into the science, even though I do have that part of me. What narcolepsy is, it's like a dysregulation of your sleep wake cycles. So
Mm.
in the middle of the day when I'm supposed to be working, like there's days where all I want to do is like lay down. And if I do, like my day's over. So I try to
Oh,
just trudge
interesting.
through. Oh, because like if I lay down, like if I have lunch and then lay down, like I could take a 3 hour nap, like no problem. My body just
Oh,
shuts down. But then on the flip side, because your sleep wake cycles are not regulated, I could be painting at 11 o'clock at night because my body's like, nope, you're going to be awake right now. So there's nights where like I could just be up sewing till 2 a.m, even though I have work the next day, because
Oh.
that's just how my body works. It's not good, but it's how I am, and I've learned to kind of live with it. But
Oh.
yeah,
That's very interesting.
it is. And I have another girlfriend who she doesn't have a sleep disorder, but she's a night owl also. So we'll both be texting at like 11:30 at night, like, what craft projects are you working on? Because we're both not
Mm.
sleeping. But
You know what's interesting, Jackie? It's like for myself, my sleep wake cycle, naturally speaking, is
mhm.
messed up. Like,
Yeah, okay.
um, yeah, no. Like if I'm off of work, like let's say I'm on vacation or something,
Hmm.
I could easily stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning because I
Hmm.
gotta be introspective and the Lord's talking to me or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm like journaling. I'm like, oh, that's a
Yep.
great idea. I'll be planning out my
Yeah.
life.
Uh-huh.
But I force myself like to have like a strict routine during the week so I could, wake up
Okay.
and be a responsible adult. But like if I really let myself be myself, oh my God, I'll
Yeah.
probably have the same type of sleep schedule as you. Like I love
Yeah.
staying up late.
Yes. Oh, I'm such a night owl. Like I joke around with Alex. I'm like, not I joke around. I said, client, nobody can schedule meetings with me before 10 a.m. because I can't. And he's like, oh hell no. He goes, I don't either. He goes, you are not gonna see cranky me before 10 a.m. I was like,
Yeah.
because one, like I'm up in the morning and I'm not a morning person. I gotta rush the kids out the door because they can't do anything productive in the morning when they have to get on the bus. And then I gotta get up and then like finally shower because I can't wake up to do it before they get to school. So then I'm like, okay, let me finally get settled into my day. And by 9:30, 10 o'clock, I can actually get something done. But it's weird too. Like when I've talked to my neurologist, he's and I know I've read this about just people in general, not just people with sleep disorders, but like you got to find your rhythm of when you feel most productive and when you feel
Mm,
the most energized. And for me, I feel like it sucks because it could be, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. or even 1 or 2 p.m. and I just have no drive to do anything. Like
mm,
I've got my task list of all my client work. I've got all my internal project work. If I'm working on the website, like I'm super organized of what I need to do. And I know I need to do it because I got a meeting with the client tomorrow, but there is just this overwhelming exhaustion in me. But then when the kids get off the bus and then it's time to make dinner, my body just ends up going into go mode, and it's
mm.
bizarre. Like I could be so tunnel visioned and be like, I could write 17 blogs and I could record all these videos and I could save the world and start a new business. But my husband's like, but we have to eat dinner. Like we got to get the kids to bed. And he's like dragging me downstairs. So I'm like, but I'm finally in the zone. And it
Yeah.
sucks. And even this time of night, like you had kind of said, you have an idea and you got to jot things down and you've got to reflect. And the nighttime for me, I feel like is when my brain is on the most.
Yeah.
But it sucks because I want to go to bed and my husband likes to go to bed at a reasonable hour. And he'll come in, he'll be like, Jack,
Pound. He'll compound the sleep owlness. But here's the thing.
yeah.
When I want to stay up late, homeboy falls
Mm-hmm.
asleep like at midnight or something. I'm like, babe, you gotta wake up. I gotta tell you stuff.
uh,
But when I'm trying to go to bed early, like
mm-hmm.
he stays up he stays up late.
Yeah. See, opposite.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh. Yeah. He'll keep poking his head in if I'm like last night I was working on something late and he's like, are you coming to bed? Are you coming to bed? I'm like, yeah, like 2 more minutes. I'm almost done. And he's like, yeah, I know you're not coming in 2 more minutes. And then he's snoring. And I'm like, but like I had to get this thought out of my brain and I needed to like, I had an aha moment and I needed to just do it while I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it. So I
Hmm.
feel like as much as, I feel like I like to live and breathe productivity and all of that. Like I try to embrace when my body wants to be productive, but at the same time, like I want to spend the time with my husband and not be working. But that's when my brain is like in go
Yeah.
mode and trying to find a balance of how do I make that work with a normal person's.
I wonder if that's ADHD.
So this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So I met with my neurologist yesterday, And I
Yeah.
told him, I said, I've been talking with other people, and just by nature of conversation, things like ADHD have come up, and I've done some research. And I said, I'm not going to self-diagnose because the internet's crazy, but I just want to have the conversation with you. And he goes, okay. And we're talking, and he says, ADHD and narcolepsy have a lot of the same symptoms. I was like, yeah, I know.
Mm.
He goes, and they're treated with medication and prescriptions in a very similar way. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I've tried like every medication under the sun to try to stay awake. And I'm on a cocktail right now that works really well. And I don't want to mess with it. And he says to me, he's asking me more questions, and he's asking me more questions. And then he looks at me and says something that I never expected him to say. He says, have you ever spoken to a psychiatrist about OCD?
Oh.
And I went, huh? I said, I don't check the door 7 times. I don't check the oven to make sure it's off. He goes, it doesn't always manifest itself that way. And then I said, yeah, I'm an asshole because people perceive narcolepsy as I'm falling asleep in front of you, and I'm perceiving OCD as I'm checking the stove. But because that's why I said to him, like, yes, I'll start 17 craft projects and never finish any of them. But at the same time, and this has happened a lot more since I've started my own business and I'm the only one doing things, like I will fixate on an idea that I know is not the most important thing I need to do right now. I know I've super prioritized my to-do list and I know what I need to do, but I get this idea stuck in my head that I need to flesh out this idea. And I'll go down a rabbit hole for 5 hours and just obsess over it. And then when I pull myself out, I'm like, well, damn, the whole day's gone. And yeah, I got that done, but that wasn't what I was supposed to do today. So
that's OCD.
So he wants me to see a psychiatrist to just have a conversation, because he goes, well, if you like your cocktail medication now, if they kind of confirm that it may be that, then maybe I'll up your medication, because he doesn't want to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he says, yeah. So because I feel like terms like OCD, like I hate when people throw terms like that around, like my sister has bipolar, and I feel like people throw these terms around like migraines or bipolar, or the analogy I always like to make, I'd be like, people think they understand migraines because they get headaches, but it's not the same. Like I never have migraines. I don't understand what they are. Like people with depression or bipolar, I feel like people think, well, I know what being sad's like. I know what depression's like. And you don't. People try to say to me, well, I'm sleepy, so I understand what narcolepsy's like. I'm like, no, you don't. You never know what's in somebody's head. And I try to be very aware of that. So I feel like I never like to throw around ADD or OCD because I don't know what it's really like. So when my doctor said that, I'm like, ooh, okay, maybe it is worth having an actual conversation. So that's my next step of figuring out my life.
That's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. I think it's interesting because like for me, like I'll start 17 different things. I've actually gotten a lot better. I've actually gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to find my half done projects all around, but yeah, I don't know. I've got my yarn everywhere, and
that's the thing, right? Like if I start 17 different things, like it has to all be organized so that I know I'm definitely going to go back to it, like all of my crap, like I need my chaos really organized.
Yes. See?
And if it's not, I can't function.
I'll be your chaos coordinator.
Yeah. Like if my chaos is not organized, I can't function, Jacqui. Like I cannot, like if there's a pile of dishes in the sink, I cannot focus on what I need to do. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about what the next time I walk into the kitchen, I'm going to see all the dishes.
See, I feel like I'm the opposite. Like,
oh, interesting.
Like I will leave a pile. I am notorious, a pile of clean clothes on my floor for 3 weeks because like I feel like it's this, I don't know if juxtaposition is the right word, but like I hate the clutter because it clutters up my head, and I want it clean. I want it. I love when everything is neat and tidy, but at the same time, I feel like I just get this overwhelming feeling of, I have this dread of folding laundry. I have this, and and it's all exaggerated in my head, and it's not rational, but I have this dread of folding laundry. I have this dread
Same.
of doing dishes because there's something else I'd rather be doing. I'd
I have
rather be
the dread too,
brainstorming.
though. I
Do
have the
you?
dread too. Yes, I
But it
dread
sounds like
it.
you have the drive. Like my husband will say, because I'll say, "Oh, I'll do the dishes," and then an hour will go by, and he'll go, "I'm just going to do them because you're not doing them." I'm like, "I said
Mm,
I would do them, and then I don't," and then he gets mad at me. But I
no.
don't
Yeah.
have the drive to do it. I have the dread to not do it, but it doesn't piss me off enough to do it unless it's like really, really bad. And then I'm like, well, now I'm a terrible person, and then I start feeling bad about myself, and I'm like, nope.
Not to feel bad about yourself. I think for me,
Yeah.
it's like impulsive. I'll do the dishes at the most inconvenient time. Like I'll do the
Will you?
dishes like 15 minutes before I have a client meeting. Like, what am I doing the dishes before a client meeting? I should be preparing. You know what I mean? Like it's an impulse. It's an impulse. I do it
Yes.
at inappropriate times. So like
Okay. See, I'll do that with like in the morning if I have a 11 o'clock meeting and that's my first meeting of the day. I'll be in my pajamas, no hair, no makeup done until 10:50. And I'm like, like I gotta go because maybe it's the OCD. I go down a rabbit hole of something I shouldn't have been doing instead of because I know first things first. I should get dressed. I should do my hair. I should do my makeup because somebody could just send me a message on Slack or Teams. Hey, can you meet real quick? Happened with Alex Morgan the other day. And I'm like, sorry. Literally, I said, I'm not on camera. I haven't done my face yet. So you're not going to see me yet. And I know. And then I beat myself up. It's like, I know that's the first thing I need to do. But I don't because something else grabs my attention and I go do that. And then I go, well, shit, I got a meeting in 5 minutes. I need to get my face together.
interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. It's
Ah,
very
yes. And
interesting.
I feel like this is very therapeutic because I talked to my husband about it and he just is like, come on, Jacqui, get your act together. I'm like,
No, it's not that
trying.
simple. It's not
I
that
know.
simple. I
I
think
know.
though the first thing though, Jacqui, you should accept yourself for how you are. Just tell yourself it's
Uh,
okay that you're that way.
I
Don't beat yourself
it
up.
it's I it's definitely something I'm working on, especially with the sleepiness because I'm such a social person, but and especially now with the kids, they have birthday parties and this and that and the other thing, and the social schedule is exhausting. And I would always feel bad telling somebody, no, I'm not going to this. But I've gotten or telling like my parents or my in-laws like sorry I know you want to just pop in tonight and have a beer but I don't have the energy and I always felt bad saying no because I like to socialize, I like to hang out with people.
Mhm.
But now like we'll go to my in-laws or my parents and if I'm feeling that exhausted I'll curl up on the couch and my mother-in-law will go, oh, Jackie's sleeping again, it's all right.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah.
And I've gotten much better at telling people, like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing 3 kids' birthday parties this weekend. We're not doing any kids' birthday parties this weekend because I need a Saturday, Sunday with nothing to do.
Yeah.
So from the exhaustion point of side of things, I've definitely gotten better of accepting and being okay saying no. The
Yeah.
other aspects I'm still working on
Yeah.
accepting because I feel like or I don't know. I know you say it's not within my control, but I keep trying to tell myself I I know what I need to do and I know for everybody the hardest part is actually executing. And I'm trying to get better at it and tell myself I can. It's just hard. So,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the
yeah.
thing. Because like with the ADHD, before I was aware of it, I used to really
Yeah.
beat myself up. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
Mhm.
But you're wasting energy beating yourself up. That contributes to
Yeah.
you not having energy. I'm telling you.
Okay, that makes sense.
I stopped beating
Yeah.
myself up. I stopped wasting that
Mhm.
mental energy. And now
Okay.
I do execute. That's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
got better.
Mhm.
I got better. Because before I used to feel like a brick wall, like I literally couldn't bring myself to start something.
Yeah.
But because I
Okay.
accepted, like, okay, I might start this, I might not
Yeah.
finish it, and it's okay. Right?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
tell myself it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Hmm.
It is
Did you go
okay.
through any cognitive behavioral therapy or anything like that?
Nope.
Or have you just kind of figured it out on your own?
Figured it out on my own. I meditate. I do a lot of meditations. I'm
Okay.
spiritual. I'm a spiritual person.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I meditate, and then there's some spiritual books that I read, like Power versus Force type. Power versus
Mm-hmm.
Force is by Dr. David Hawkins, and then he has a whole slew of
Okay.
books that I read. And
Okay.
like I journal, but I kind of reprogram myself like it's okay. It's okay. Like I'll
Yeah.
write things over and over like it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay that I do
I
this.
like
It's
that.
okay that I do this.
Yes.
It's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And that brick wall that I would feel
Yeah.
was like stopping me from starting something,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot smaller now. So it takes less
Okay.
effort for me to start because I'm not beating myself up.
Yes. How? Then I have a question for you because I've always wanted to journal, and a psychologist that I saw at one point recommended that I journal. And what I did, it wasn't because I also suck at getting into daily habits. I've
Mhm.
um, but I want to journal. But what I do, because my memory is terrible too, part symptom of narcolepsy, what I do is like if there's like little things that happen in the day, like we end up getting into a pillow fight with the boys, or
Mhm.
we randomly go to the beach, or like just a little joyful thing that I want to remember, I have a little book and I write that down. I have
Oh,
one
that's
for
so nice.
me and I have one for each of the boys.
Oh.
And if I don't write it down, I have a Google Doc that'll go on my phone and I'll write it down. So
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
don't know, the something about the first day of kindergarten, or we went on a vacation, or I don't know, something, a little win happened for me. So I kind of do, I don't know, like a journal gratitude hybrid thing, but it's not every day. It's just when
Okay.
I want to, because I want to remember those little things. Like you
Yeah.
remember the big things, you remember big vacations or big events and weddings, but I want to remember the spontaneous trip we took, a walk through the woods and we found a little frog. And, those are the things that I want to remember. And my
Yeah.
memory's terrible. So I do
Yeah.
that and I really enjoy that. But what I want to, so I guess my question to you is, what would be a suggestion to get into a daily habit of just even writing down like one great thing that I want to just jot down and remember?
Peg it to something. Peg it to something you
Okay.
do every day anyways. So let's say you're on the
Like,
toilet. Like, oh, let me put
so
on
attach it to something you're habitually already doing.
like for me,
Okay.
I attach it to in the morning, I attach it to when I drink
Hmm.
my first cup of coffee. And then
Okay.
in the evening, I attach it to when I'm drinking tea because I drink tea at night every night. So I attach it
Okay.
to that. So just
Okay.
attach it to something that you do every single day.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah.
Okay. I will try that. That makes sense.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
But even that though, like, because I don't journal every single day, like,
Okay.
I journal when I
Yeah.
journal. It's fine,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know? And then if
Yeah.
you really want to, you could just record when you're in the moment. There
Yeah.
goes content.
Well, you know what I do? I've been I grab my phone if I have an idea, because my brain is notorious for when I'm in that, like just waking up, I get these aha moments.
Those are
So
the best.
I take out my phone, I do a voice recorder, and I take the transcription, I throw it into ChatGPT or whatever to give me a summary. I throw it into ClickUp, assign it to myself with the date I want to go back to
Oh,
revisit it.
you're good, Jackie. What the
Oh
heck?
my, well,
You're
oh, I
fun.
can work. I'm telling you, I workflow and process the shit out of everything. but
Yeah.
then it's, but then I've got a backlog, if you want to call it, of ideas that I need to filter through and actually execute. Um, oh, I feel like I'm an idea machine. It's just taking the ideas. See, but see, you said you're the big picture too.
Yeah.
I feel like if I could be the idea machine, I need the execution machine to tag team with. You can
Yeah.
have the super big picture ideas that I'll whittle it down a little bit. Then we need a third, we need a third cog in the wheel.
That's exactly do it. Actually do it. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do get things started though. I do get things started. I
Yeah.
do get things
Yeah.
started. So then we would just have to
Mm-hmm.
find someone to continue because then I'm gonna want to move on after like 6 months. And I'm like, I need
Well,
something new. Like
yes. I started crocheting for my boys, these dinosaurs, right? So they were supposed to be like 14 inches tall. Well, I bought yarn that was too big. So these things, Jess, they're going to be like 24 inches tall. And this is the first stuffed animal I've ever crocheted. So I wanted to do like something easy. Well, I've been working on these things since August.
Jackie,
And
a
I'm at
dinosaur doesn't sound easy.
it's easy and repetitive. And the repetitive is very calming. I don't know how you are, but I feel like if I'm like super stressed and like repetitive things are super calming for me. So I'll sit there and I'll crochet, and it's just literally like same stitch over and over and over and over and over and over again. But to your point of wanting to start new, like these are going to be the cutest damn things. And I'm so excited to have the finished result, but I have other things I want to do and I just want to go do those. And I've got them in a little corner in the living room, and the half body pieces of the dinosaurs. And the spikes are in a basket and the yarn's everywhere. And I'm sure my husband's like, finish your craft room because it's under construction. Finish the damn craft room and get the yarn out of the living room. But I want to move on to the next thing, like you said. But I know these are going to be so cool and the boys are going to love them. So they keep saying, Mommy, when are you going to finish my dinosaur? I'm like, yeah, when are you going to be self-sufficient? And then I'll have time to craft.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so hilarious. But the other thing I was thinking about though, like when you think about, let's say like the 17th or 18th century or whatever, and you think about like, I mean, I don't know exactly what the wealth distribution system was specifically back then, but like a lot of people had a lot of skills doing a lot of different things, you know, like people learned multiple languages and the reading and the philosophy and the, you know, people weren't just doing one thing, you know?
Yeah. And they didn't have apps to keep it all organized.
It's
like
true.
I don't think I would have survived back then. Like you think of these like legendary, like somebody like an Albert Einstein, like they were brilliant and they didn't have, I mean, everybody had modern technology of the time, but I mean, I guess we all adapt to what we have, but people, they had so many different skills. And I feel like maybe that's why us project managers like have that affinity to like, I don't want to call it a hard skill, but making and creating and like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it, but you said like that, I don't know, like deep rooted, like need to like use our bodies and our hands and
build something, do something,
build things.
something.
Maybe it's just how our brains are wired. I don't know.
It might be. It might be because like for myself, and I know you always talk about like how your memory is horrible. Like for a long time, I didn't remember a lot of stuff about my life. I think maybe I was just overstressed. I don't know what it was. I just didn't remember anything. But now lately my memories have been coming back. And like, I remembered like when I was a kid, you know, those little street cars that used to be like super popular and like the kids would like, I don't know, the like street slooging or something like that. Yeah. So like I wanted one so bad, but we didn't have money for it. So then I took like an old desk that was like in the garage that my mom wanted to throw out. And then like I literally tried to make my own like road sluge. Like I had like, I took bicycle wheels and it was so horrible because, you know, but I tried. It almost worked until one of the wheels fell off. But, you know, I forgot that I did that, you know. I'm like, oh, I really did try to build something like.
It's like an engineer before it was a thing.
See,
but I love that creativity. And that's what we're trying to teach our boys too. Our boys are 5 and 6 and they know how to use power tools because we want to teach them to first to not be afraid of things like that and to explore their curiosity and creativity. And they were riding bikes without training wheels at 4 and they just love riding around the neighborhood. And we built ramps out of scrap wood. And they ride over the ramps in the street. And that my oldest son would be like, Mommy, he wanted to build a worm table over the summer because they love to go in the garden and just explore and dig stuff up. And then, they love like, oh, what's this new tool Daddy just got? He got a like super heavy duty, like nail gun in the mail yesterday. So my son's like, Daddy, let's use the nail gun.
Oh my God.
Well, that we're not letting the kids use, but
oh my God. It's pretty heavy duty.
Oh, yeah. Well, my husband says, so this heavy duty nail gun would have been really nice when we built the shed over the summer. Like, yeah, but you already built the shed. So why do you need the new tool? It's like, well, because I'm going to put plywood in the attic and I'm just going to go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And it's going to, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. But yeah, just as a kid, just that's what we tell the boys, like go in the garage. And if you find scrap wood, just think of something and come up with something. And I was in there with my oldest son, TJ, and he was been wanting to make a desk. So we started cutting wood to make a desk just spontaneously. And he found scraps and glued them together on his own and made like this it almost looks like a Thor hammer, but it's like really long and skinny. And he's like, "Mommy, look what I made!" And he's just like, because he just got screws and wood glue and just was like, "Look what I made!" I'm like, "That is awesome!" Like it's in the grand scheme of things, it's silly, but he was proud of it and he came up with it in his brain, and he was super proud of it, and I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's so adorable. Jacqui, it's like you're so full of love. And I mean, I know you have the sleep thing, but right now you're full of
Yeah.
energy.
Well, see, this is the, what is it? It's almost 10 o'clock at night. This is the second
Yeah,
wind
right.
that,
The second one.
I'll
Yeah.
be, yes, I'll be down. I'll be in the garage, cutting legs for the desk I'm building when we're done and never go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, would you say like your parents also gave you like that same type of loving, supportive environment for you to like, just fully express yourself and be yourself?
We are talking about memories. Like it's interesting. So I feel like I don't remember specific, like, not maybe not specific. I feel like I don't remember generalities about my childhood,
Oh,
but I remember
interesting.
very, yeah, like my husband and I will talk about, like, now that the kids are in school, like, what do we do with the kids in the summertime? We both work, blah, blah, blah. So we were thinking back to our childhood. And my husband said, well, I had a ton of cousins. Both his parents are one of 5 kids. He says we would all go to grandma's and grandma would watch all the kids. And, mom and dad would come pick us up and we'd go home. And for the life of me, I could not remember what we did in the summertime as
Wow.
kids.
Wow.
And I know that really doesn't answer your question, but
Yeah.
like growing up, when we were really young, my mom worked nights, my dad worked days. And my dad would come home, my mom would feed us, she'd go to work. And they did that for a while we were young, until my mom went back to work. But like I, to that point, like I feel like I don't necessarily remember, did
Interesting.
they give me that environment to be creative? But what I do remember, I'll remember, like, on this, on my 8th birthday, my mom, because my mom always did parties at the house and always did
Mhm.
like themes. So maybe that's where a lot of the creativity comes, because she was very, like you had said, didn't have a lot of money for things. So we never got birthday parties out. We never went out to dinner for birthdays, but my
Mhm.
mom took the time to, what's your favorite dinner? And she would make a huge meal. And what's your favorite dessert? And would
Aw,
make this, extravagant dessert.
that
So
sounds pretty
the
loving to
the
me.
yeah, so the love was in the time and the effort, which I
Yeah.
feel like that's really what was ingrained in me. So I would remember, like, my 10th birthday, my mom did a carnival theme and she had like this, and so I'll remember all those details,
Oh,
and
that's
my
so
husband will be like,
cute.
"How do you remember that?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, just these moments, and that's why I kind of wanted to write down those little moments for the kids to look back on and things like that. But talking about my parents too, they this is kind of it's a tough thing for me to kind of say out loud, but I know you're all about that, so I feel okay with that. But they weren't always, like, in school, like, the smartest kids. My dad went to school but didn't graduate,
Mhm.
and in college, like, I and this is a memory that will never leave me. I was picked to enter a national sales competition, and
Oh,
it was like an inaugural thing at this school in New Jersey, and they had kids from all around the country come. And long story short, I finished, I think, 6th place out of like 70 kids in this sales
wow.
competition. So I call my parents. I was all excited, and my mom's reaction was, "Wow, like, I really didn't think you had the chops to do that."
Oh my god. Oh my
And I'm
god.
like, and I'm on the phone, like, the wind completely out of my sails. I'm like, "Well, thanks. Thanks for believing in me."
Yeah.
And so, as much as they did foster, like, the love and the thought and the effort and really giving attention to what we loved and doing special things for us in a non-monetary way, just that, the belief in the, wow, like, I didn't think you could actually do that. I'm like,
Mm.
thanks.
But you know
So
something? It's like given like the background that you shared,
mhm.
it kind of reminds me of, like those movies where you have someone who lives in a small town, everyone does the same thing, like nothing,
Mm,
like not a lot is going on.
mm,
And then you have the one person
Mm-hmm.
that like sees the commercial of the big city and then they're like, I'm gonna make it big. But then everybody in the town is like, no,
Yeah.
no way. Like that's what that kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of.
You're not cut out for that. Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
even now, like I'll talk to my parents about something, and my mom's reaction is always like negative or
Mm.
um just like judge, not intentionally judgmental, but I'm like, I want to tell you about whether, like, I want to like ask her about parenting stuff with the boys, and then she'll just say something critical. I'm like, but
Mhm.
I'm looking for support, not, well, I was a parent, I figured it out. I'm like, mom, like,
Mhm.
come on, like,
Yeah.
encouragement or
Yeah.
sharing things with her. And like, I would love for her to say something like, wow, like, that's exciting, like, good for you. But she'll say something like, well, it sounds like you're biting off more than you can chew. I'm like,
Oh,
thanks.
okay.
So then I
Mhm.
feel like, like talking about deep rooted psychology and things like that, that I know nothing about. I'll just say that. But I feel like then I'm like more motivated than like, well, like, I'm going to do this because, but then to your point before, I should just let it go because I know the love is there. It just doesn't come out the right way sometimes. So when you
Yeah.
said let go of and be accepting of, you know, maybe your own limitations, I feel like I need to be more accepting of that's who she is. Cause my dad's totally different. My dad will be like, yes, I got your back, go for it.
Mhm.
Awesome. Tell me all about it. Where
Mhm.
and I think that's just from how she grew up too. Because my dad will
Mm.
always say, like, she's being like her mother. So
Oh.
I think
Mhm.
I need to be more accepting of her reactions to things, and maybe as sometimes, as much as I take it personal and I wish it was different, and the wind does get taken out of my sails, maybe I need to just kind of let it go and be like, okay, I expected that reaction.
Yeah, I mean, you could honestly, you could be twofold, like because you could accept that whatever response that she does gives you motivation.
Mm,
It makes it angry. Like, you know what, I'm gonna still do.
yeah.
Like, you could just
Yeah.
embody it. Like you don't have to
Mm,
fight the feeling because we're human.
yeah.
We're human.
Yeah. I
Like
know. Hmm.
I came back from vacation and I saw like my
That's
cat was mad at us and peed on the floor. I was angry. Yeah, it gets my
of
nerves. Of
course.
course,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Clean the carpet or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Huh.
I, and then the other thought that came to mind is perhaps she sees you living out her dreams and it makes maybe she didn't live out hers.
That is a good insight. Maybe
That's the other thought that came to mind.
that that could be. All right, I'm not going down that route, but now my brain's thinking. uh, that is true. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, you never know what's going on in people's heads.
You don't,
Hmm.
especially our parents. Like my
Yes.
dad
Yes.
literally just started opening up to me about his childhood. And he's been my dad,
Really?
what, 34 years?
Yeah.
And I'm just
Yeah.
learning about what his life was like when he was growing up in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Just finding out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and my mom always brings up a point too, that the relationship between her parents and her generation is very different than, at least where, I don't know if it's just culture or geography or whatever, but then very different than my relationship with my parents. Like, we go on vacation with my parents and we hang out and have beers together, and they come to the kids' um, sports games. And my mom said we never hung out with our parents for fun. Like, they
Mhm.
were our parents and there was a line. And
Interesting.
so I think that maybe not, I mean, my mom will, like, the other day, my mom was like, hey, I'm getting my hair cut in the neighborhood. Can I swing by? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. And I'm like, that would be awesome. And I'm super slammed. She's like, okay, we'll get together Friday. We're going to come to TJ's baseball game. Maybe we can hang out after. I'm like, perfect. So I know the love and the thought is there.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I think when she does tell me about how it was very black and white with her parents, and they never had the, I don't want to call it friendly relationship, but you know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
relationship with her parents in that generation was very different. So that
Yeah.
could, like you said, maybe some of that could be a reason why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe inadvertently.
Yeah. 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 Like, yeah, my mom and her mother, Yeah, my grandmother, nobody says she was a nice woman. Like nobody in my
Oh,
family says my grandmother was a nice woman.
oh,
Like,
okay.
like
Yeah.
maybe it might be a generational thing. And then my
Yeah.
grandfather, he lived with us for some time. Jacqui, I can tell you the
Hmm.
number of conversations I had with that man on one hand, probably. And he lived with us for
Yeah.
years. Like,
Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, even yeah, it's also generational. I feel like the grandpas and the dads then like weren't as open with talking as like our
Yeah,
generation is.
he was
Like
very, very
we are,
quiet.
yes, yes, and the dads didn't show emotion. Dads and the granddads, they didn't talk about their feelings.
No.
You couldn't show emotion. You were scared shitless of your father when he came home from work if you were bad, you know. But
Hmm.
now I feel like it's, it's very different, and it's different in a good way, but
Yeah.
you know it's different for better or worse sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure just the generational gaps have impacts that I guess we couldn't understand because we didn't live, when our parents did, and we didn't have the relationships that they did with their parents and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Jacqui, you're like
so much,
full of,
so
full of,
much.
full of everything. It's fantastic. Like,
Oh,
like
ah,
I feel like you're so dedicated with your children. You're dedicated with what you do.
mm,
You're dedicated to your crafts. Granted, it's
mm.
okay if you start things and don't finish it, but you're
Yeah,
still like dedicated, like you're dedicated to the
yeah,
general thing of what you do.
yes.
So, if you had to give advice, like three pieces of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Ooh, oh my. Three pieces of advice to my younger self. Um, the first piece of advice would be to just trust the path you're on in life. Because and I feel like this keeps tying back to the narcolepsy, and I hate to identify as that because I don't want it to control who I am. But so many points in life, I just felt like a complete failure.
Hmm.
And especially with jobs and careers. Like if you look at my resume, like I have way more jobs listed than any person should. And I just kept beating myself up that I can't stick to anything, that I'm not good enough, that it's got to be me. And this hit me really hard last summer. I was working, it was the company I was working for that got me introduced to ClickUp, and I thought I was doing really well. I just got promoted, and then out of the blue, they did layoffs.
Hmm.
And I was beating myself up, and I'm like, again, I can't stick with a job, even though I thought it was doing really well. And then I have to remind myself that I truly do believe in everything that happens for a reason. And every time I wallow in feeling like a failure, I come out at the end and it leads to something else. So that would be my advice: is try not to get stuck in now, because life is waves and it comes and goes, and now is not permanent. And where we are, you have the power and the responsibility to take action. And if you're not happy, do something about it. And that now is not permanent, and life will work itself out. So that's the first thing I would tell myself. The second thing I would tell myself, advice. Oh, this is so hard. Um, take lunch breaks. No,
Hmm.
my
That's a good
husband.
one.
No, my husband. Well, my husband yells at me all the time, and I don't know. That's a terrible piece of advice because I don't take it. I don't take the advice. Yeah, that is a very good point. Yes, and if my husband hears me, he's gonna be like, "Yeah, you're a hypocrite." Um, let's see. Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. Um, I would want to travel more, to be honest. I think that's one.
Hmm.
I never really traveled a lot, and now that we have kids, I feel like it's even harder to travel. So, looking back, I wish I had traveled more. So, I think that I would tell myself to not worry about the money, because I always love experiences rather than stuff. So,
Yeah.
I would tell myself to don't worry about the money, because the few times that we have done big trips, it's just been so worth it. So I would tell myself to travel more. Like my sister-in-law she's traveled the world before. She got married a little bit later than we did. But she just traveled so much, and she has all these stories of traveling the world. And so maybe I always keep saying, oh, once the kids are older, maybe that would be my other piece of advice, to stop saying, I'll do this when, or I'm not ready yet. Just
do it.
Figure it out. Like when people say, oh, like when we were getting married, oh, you're ready to be married? No, of course not. Or, hey, you're pregnant. Are you ready to have a kid? Of course not. Like there's no time that I'm ready. I'm ready to be pregnant and be miserable and have a child and have my life completely turned upside down. Yeah, I'm ready. But you just got to jump in. So I think that would be my other piece of advice is stop saying I'll do it when. Yeah. Just do it.
Amazing.
Just take the first step.
I love all those pieces of advice. Like those are amazing. That's amazing. And thanks. Where can people find you, Jacqui?
Well, if anybody's ever in New Jersey, come to the beach. You can find me there. You can find me on LinkedIn, on my website, productivitynerd.consulting, talking about just doing and trying to get out of the planning rut. I literally spontaneously decided to start a YouTube short series that I call My Daily Unfiltered Unscripted Lessons in Productivity and Project Management. So that has been fun to try to get out of I have to plan everything. I just record and I throw it out there. So you can find me there. I've gotten some fun comments on the videos I post there. But I love, I'm such a social person, and I social media is really not my thing, which is weird, but I love hearing from whether it's clients, like, I love what you did for us. Like, this was amazing. Or I love that video you put up. So find me on social media, say hi, send me an email. I'd love to have a conversation about crafting or sleepiness or kids, or, I feel like parenting and project management is very, very relatable. They're very similar. So we can talk about anything.
Oh, wonderful. Oh,
I don't want to tell you one thing before we're done. I made this dress.
Oh, wow. You have to stand up and like give a little. You have to give a little, because I like.
I got my pajama pants on too, so it's like this waffle knit.
Cute. Yeah.
And I got buttons on the cuffs. I don't know if you can see.
Jacqui, what the heck?
Yeah,
that's really good.
So, so this was this was like my Christmas dress one year. Yeah,
that's really nice. I might have to hire you to make a skirt for me. Like, I have the design in my head. I bought the fabric. I can ship it to you.
Well, that would be my dream job, would be to host sewing classes and teach people to sew. That'll be my retirement job.
Okay. I was about to say, you want to schedule some time in a couple of weeks so you can show me? I tried to start that at my last job. I was like, can we, because we had a Slack channel for like hobbies. I'm like, can we start like a monthly crafting cohort? And it never went anywhere, but I would love to do that. Girl, don't tell me, because I told you I start stuff.
What's to say? Let's do it. I try to do that with friends that sew. Like, we'll pick the same project, and it's like a sewing pen pal. We'll pick the same project and we'll make the same pattern, and we'll like check in with each other every couple weeks. And we should do that.
I think I'm serious. I think I'm going to follow up with you, schedule a meeting, because I'm going to be speaking at an event November 23rd. And it was my goal where when I'm speaking at events, I'm wearing clothes I make. Yeah. So I think 3 weeks is enough pressure time for myself. Yeah. To like,
you
do
could.
This. Yeah.
You could. Well, that's my goal too, so when we get together in real life in December, we are going to have to seriously talk about this, because I'm super pumped to meet in real life in a couple months.
Oh my God, it's going to be fantastic. Yes. Our conversations are going to be so scattered. It's going to be fantastic. Oh,
we're going to record so much stuff when we're together. We're going to have content for months.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you so much.
This has been so fun.